How goes it, YouTube? Today is Tuesday for me, but happy whatever day it is that you're watching this. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's get to this video. Okay, you guys, in today's video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 worst things doctors have done. Okay, this is probably maybe a disturbing video, don't know, but let's see what we're going to see in this. Maybe the doctors left something inside during the surgery, or they were maybe yelling at the person that they're about to do surgery. I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's see what this video has for us.
Hey guys, we like to think that doctors are good people, and for the most part, they really are. They dedicate their whole lives to saving other people's lives. It's a very honourable profession. Perhaps that's why we're all so shocked when some doctors do the complete opposite of their job. They ruin lives, or sometimes even end them. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 worst things doctors have done. At number 10, we have the wrong leg. In 1995, Willie King was a man suffering from complications of diabetes and needed one of his feet amputated to save his life. Through a long series of complicated mistakes, misunderstandings, and failures in communication, the surgeon amputated the wrong leg somehow. Apparently, the surgeon realized halfway through the surgery that something was wrong, but by that point, it was already too late. Many people came to the surgeon's defense and said that anyone else would have done the same thing because of all the poor information that was given to him, but he still had to face the consequences of his mistake. He had his medical license suspended for 6 months and was ordered to pay $250,000 to the victim. Moving on to number 9 now, we have wide awake surgery. In 2006, 73-year-old Baptist minister Sherman Sizemore from West Virginia underwent exploratory surgery for a gallbladder problem. Unfortunately, he experienced something called anesthesia awareness. This meant that he could feel all of the pain of the surgery, but was unable to move or make a single sound. He felt everything from the very first cut into his abdomen, right up to the end of the surgery. Over the next 2 weeks, he couldn't sleep. He refused to be left alone, he had constant nightmares, and he kept saying people were trying to bury him alive. Then, sadly, he shot himself to death as a result of the horrific ordeal. His family later sued the hospital. Alright guys, those last 2 doctors that we talked about were pretty bad, but it was done by accident. From here on in though, we're going to be looking at the intentional worst doctors. At number 8, we have Cecil B. Jacobson. Jacobson was a fertility doctor who treated women who had problems getting pregnant. Some patients would agree to be artificially inseminated with their partner's sperm, or perhaps an anonymous donor. Jacobson would instead use his own sperm. DNA tests linked him as the biological father of 15 different children, but it's suspected that number could be as high as 75. Coming up next at number 7 now, we have James C. Burt. Burt was an American gynecologist who earned the nickname of the Love Surgeon. In 1966, at the age of 45, he began performing what he called love surgery on women, in which he would alter their vulvas without their informed consent. Amazingly, he even wrote...
He altered their vulvas. What the hell? How the hell did he do that? What, he cut off a piece of it? What? Just like that last man, he's insane. Putting his, I would be highly pissed the hell off. I have a kid hoping that me and my spouse, we decide to inseminate an egg. We're paying all this money for him to put his own freaking semen with my egg to have a baby by him. Just think about it. Just think about it. Say 2 black couples, or a black and an Asian couple, or interracial couple that has nothing to do with white, is every other race mixed together, and they come out having this little white baby, or I'm sorry, half white, half black baby, thinking that it's theirs, and then something goes wrong with this child, and then the mother's not a match, and they find out the dad's not a match either, and they find out that this man decided that he wanted to use his semen. You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna be looking for some help. You're gonna be looking for some help because we're going to come after you. The hell? Just think about, what would you do? What would you do if that happened to you? Like, you paid all this money to get inseminated because you're having fertility issues. Go to this doctor and he does that bull crap. Just like this guy, he wanted to change the vulva. What is wrong with these people? Wow, what is wrong with these men? What happens? What triggers in their mind to make them want to do these things? What happens? What happens?
A book about this horrific practice in 1975 called Surgery of Love, where he talked very openly about the procedure and why he did it, saying women are structurally inadequate in intercourse and that this was a pathological condition that could be fixed with surgery. In reality though, his surgeries caused sexual dysfunction, infections, and resulted in him losing his medical license and being sued for $21 million by his victims. Sure. Coming in at number 6 now, we have Mengele and Tolik. This Florida doctor had a medical practice just outside of Orlando where he had his license to prescribe controlled substances in schedules 2 through to 5. Now for those of us without any medical training, those substances are also known as cocaine, morphine, oxycodone, and methamphetamines. He started to prescribe these drugs to his young female patients even if they didn't need it. Soon enough, they were addicted to them and had fallen into his trap. He would throw lavish parties at his home and would invite the women to take part and be given the drugs that they craved in return for sexual favors. He was eventually arrested in 2010 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Next up at number 5, we have Karl Clauberg. He was a Nazi doctor during World War II who asked a Nazi leader if he could be given permission to sterilize women for his experiments. He was given permission and moved to Auschwitz concentration camp where he looked for a cheap and easy way to sterilize large groups of women with tests on the Jewish women there. The most famously horrific of his techniques involved injecting acid directly into the uterus of a woman without any anesthetics. Many women died, with 700 surviving but remaining permanently sterilized for life. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Shireo Ishii. Ishii was a Japanese microbiologist and a lieutenant in the Japanese army during their war with China. He was head of Unit 731, the biological warfare unit of the army. Ishii wanted to find out how diseases, chemicals, and illnesses affected humans. He discovered all of this by experimenting on Chinese prisoners of war and by deploying them on Chinese civilians. These included bubonic plague, cholera, anthrax, as well as forced vivisections, abortions, and artificially induced strokes. His victims would also suffer induced heart attacks and hypothermia. His actions are linked to the deaths of more than 10,000 people. Coming in at the number 3 spot now, we have Michael Swango. He was a doctor that was implicated in the poisoning of 60 of his patients, but only ever admitted to 4 of them. While working as an intern in Ohio, he would poison patients with arsenic. When he began to poison his co-workers' coffee, alarm bells were raised. He was sentenced to 5 years, but when he was released, he continued to poison his co-workers and girlfriend wherever he went. He changed his name and he lied about his past to stop police following the trail, and eventually he even went to Zimbabwe where he poisoned patients there too. In 2000 he pled guilty to the 3 murder charges brought before him, but the FBI says he may have been responsible for 60 deaths, making him one of America's worst serial killers. Moving on to number 2 now, we have Dr. Harold Shipman. He is probably the most prolific British serial killer of the past 50 years. A public inquiry found that between 1975 and 1998, he killed 250 of his patients, often elderly women. His weapon of choice was injecting diamorphine into them, a pharmaceutical version of heroin. Although he was a careful and meticulous serial killer, many people were amazed that he could get away with the murders for so long. The alarm was only raised in 1998 when a nearby medical practice found that his death rate was 10 times higher than their own. In 2000 he was sentenced to life in prison, but 4 years later he hung himself in his prison cell. His motives were never truly understood. And finally now, at number 1, we have Dr. Josef Mengele. Josef Mengele was the doctor at Auschwitz, probably the most famous concentration camp of the Holocaust, where over 1 million people died. As people arrived there, Mengele was the one who decided if they were healthy enough to enter the forced labor camp. If they weren't, he sent them straight to the gas chambers. This earned him the nickname Angel of Death, but his experiments are what he is really remembered for. He would use the prisoners to test the medical limits of the human body, often operating on his victims without using any anesthesia. He removed limbs and organs, he sewed twins together to see what would happen, he even injected their eyes with chemicals to try and change their eye color. Basically, the list just goes on and on. Despite his crimes and his part in the killing of hundreds of thousands, he evaded capture at the end of the war, eventually dying in Brazil. Well guys, that was all very disturbing, wasn't it? Now luckily, the number of good doctors in the world vastly outweigh the number of bad ones, so please don't let this list put you off going to the doctors, like really. But do let us know what video you guys want to see next on the channel. My name is Danny Burke, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Subscribe to the channel, and those men are freaking sick, twisted. Oh, all of them, every single last one of them. Especially those ones in the Nazi, you know, in the concentration camps. What they did to these people, that's horrible, horrible. How, what in your mind clicks to make you want to be a psychotic serial killer? What in your mind clicks to be that way? What clicks off from your humanity to make you want to do these crazy things to people that are living in front of you that you might think are dogs or what? It doesn't matter. Even your pets, you don't want to treat that way. Like, what is wrong with these people? Horrible. That's okay. They all get their just deserves in the end. Okay? But anyhow, tell me your thoughts. Sorry, I know that's horrible, kind of morbid, but tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this whole doctors and what they've done, what they're, what these doctors are doing on the low? Like, what some of these doctors wait until women, or wait till they go to sleep to prey on people. It's not okay. Not okay. But I really want to know your thoughts. So comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry about this morbid video. We're going to get something a little less, so morbid. Hopefully the next one's really good. Okay? So I thank you so much for watching. Comment down below. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of your week or weekend. And I will see you in the next video. Okay?